Oh, yeah, go ahead.
That way, in case anybody misses out or has to bail, whatever, at least we got it on there. So, Coach G, tell us a little bit about yourself, and the platform is yours, my man.
All right. Terrence Gant. I'm from, I live in Corona, California. I started coaching 2011 when I got out of the Marine Corps. I was medically retired from injuries. And I got into coaching because I had a buddy that I played ball with in high school, got a job, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to come on." And I was like, "Okay," but I was like, "Dude, I haven't done anything football-wise in like 15 years." And, that started my career. I coached 7 years in Arizona, and then I moved to California and took a job out here, and just been going at it. It's one of the greatest things that I've been a part of is the coaching fraternity. But tonight I just want to talk to you guys about Cover 7. A couple of things. If you have a question, unmute and come right in and ask the question, because I'm getting old, so I'll forget if we wait until the end, because I'm sure there'll be tons of questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and get this going. So can everybody see that? Okay.
I see it.
What's that?
Yes, sir, I see it.
Okay. So what I'll start off with first is starting off with 2x2 sets and 10 personnel. So pretty much this is the main meat and potatoes of this, is understanding defensively. There's 4 coverage philosophies. You've got man match, zone match. The only ones that I'll read on here is the man match and zone match, which I messed this photo up, the definitions and the words on the wrong side, and I just noticed that. But zone matches, it's like zone. The defenders are dropping to an area while visioning the quarterback, playing the zone from the top down. However, if a player enters that defender zone, he will take him man-to-man. Zone matches played by rallying to throw short of the zones. Defenders have a no-cover zone in the flats where they will take the player man-to-man until the ball is thrown. So an example of a rule for zone match is the will linebacker drop into his hook zone and number 3 runs through it. He will now man up number 3. So with man match is defenders having a particular man assignment until that player does something that triggers me to become man-to-man with another receiver. So example for those rules would be corner has number 1 vertically. If one does anything else, I'll man up a different player. So just understanding those philosophies of coverages kind of is like the starting point for all of this. So cover 7 philosophy, it's a too high close coverage. It's a man match coverage, and I put the definition in there again. I have a man until he does something, then I have another man. This is a defense where you don't want the ball caught in front of you. All right. A lot of teams that, you run those quick hitches, those sit routes, and they, some offensive coordinators have the patience to do that to you, and it kills you. If you don't want that to happen to you, cover 7 is one of the greatest coverages for you. It brackets interior receivers. It's a split field concept, and it's flank dependent. Multiple ways to handle how you're being attacked. So if you ever hear a defensive coach say that, oh, we play cover 7, people say that to me all the time. They're like, oh, we play cover 7. I'm like, okay, well, which one? Because here at the bottom, I've named all of them. So it's a family of coverages. You've got box, you've got mod, bracket, switch, cut, clip, clamp, mix, CC, stump, stubby, poach, Zeke, Seahawk, in and out, and Stillers. And they all build off of each other, but they're for different things. And we'll get into that. Why cover 7? Cover 7 allows defenses to have tight coverage on intermediate and vertical routes by bracketing slot receivers and squeezing the lanes in the coverage. This man-match version of quarters is best used in situations when allowing players to catch short throws and rallying to them won't work because they are too skilled and can outrun your defenders if given a head start. Often the spacing of modern spread offensive sets forces defenses out of zone coverages. However, playing straight man-to-man is not a viable option when evaluating player talent against the opponent. Man-match quarters gives the defense the leverage and the coverage options to defend offenses. You know, like I said, I'm always transparent. You know, what is cover 7 vulnerable to? Teams that have tight splits where the offense uses many, shallow crossers and meshers, you're better off using cover 8 if that's what you're getting. If teams that run mesh, or they're always running, wide shallow, NCAA concept, those concepts, they kill man match, because if you don't have backers, especially in the middle, that can run with crossers, you'll be in trouble.
Coach, what about the running back that lines up to the short side and runs a drag? I can't remember the year, but Tom Brady had his running back against the Steelers step outside like an angle option route. He ran across the middle in cover 7. He caught it over like the right tight end. He lined up on the left, short side car left. He ran a drag route, and in cover 7, I believe they were keying on the mic if he dropped running back, if he didn't throw the slant. Is there any way to defend against that, or is it just pure man?
There's different options with some of the tags. Like I'll cover, and so I'm only going to cover ones that I think guys can run in high school, because there's some from cover 7 that high school, we probably don't have enough coaches to teach it, and 2, it's tough. The kids really have to think. And it really blew my mind when I dove into this study last year. And I went to Alabama, I went to Georgia, and I went to Tennessee to watch practice. And it was like the amount that was thrown at those guys, I was like, holy shit, like that's a lot.
I've been going to Michigan the past 6 years, and yeah, I've been overwhelmed too.
Yeah. So some key terms and definitions, so you'll understand a lot of this coverages. When you see the defender's definition is, say, cut the underneath receiver. You have number 2 or 3 man-to-man if he goes up or in. If he goes out, they will man one with a particular technique, which is called cut. Push, you'll see a lot of the hook defenders, the money in the MAC, you'll see push a lot under them as their responsibility. I will push my man by one receiver over. This is mainly used by the backer when number 3 pushes into the flat, where the apex will push to the old number 3, and then he looks for the new number 3. First to flat. First receiver to the flat will be manned by the apex. The first to flat player is expecting to man number 2 until he gets a push call. If no number 2 goes in or out and there's no fast 3, he will take 2 back across the field. And then your fast 3, which you were just kind of talking about, the back in the backfield runs directly into the flat area and out of the box at the snap of the ball. So the first one, when I learned when you teach cover 7, is you teach box. Box is always the first one that you teach, because all the training wheels for cover 7 start with box. So I'll start on the left-hand side. The corner, he's mod, which is man on deep. He's using press bail rules. You move over to the star, he's got first to flat. Number 2 in and no push call, he's got to take number 2 back across the field. So that's the big thing about cover 7 is communication has to be paramount. Because when things like this, for this star, his rule is he's got first to flat. But if number 2 goes in and he doesn't get a push call from 3, he's got to take 2 back across the field, all right, because everybody else is manned up. For the money, he's going to relate to 3. He's got a fast 3. He's going to get a push call, and he's going to find the new 3. And then the strong safety, he's reading 2-1. If 2's vertical, he's got him. If 2 goes in or out, he's robbing number 1. All right. So the great thing about this is I can teach you mod and cut, because this is, like I said, this is a split field coverage. So on the left side, we're playing mod. On the right side, we're playing cut. So on the right side, the corner, he's a flat defender. If no one's in the flat and one goes back across the field, he's got to take him back across the field if no one comes into the flats. The Mac, he's got 2 up and inside. So if 2's vertical or 2's back inside, he's got him. If 2 goes out, he's cutting 1. The free safety is reading 1 to 2, and he's got half field responsibilities. So that's mod with cut to the right side. The next one, any questions on that? Maybe.
Coach, what determines the star? Is he always to the strong side?
So
And alignment-wise?
there's different ways you can play it. The star can be to the field. I mean, depending on what kind of team you are, because he could be field boundary, he could be passing strength, or some people, they do, strong right, strong left, strength dependent. Now, the way we do it is I always want my star on the second best receiver. So if teams that this guy, he's not very good, I want my star going with this guy.
Gotcha.
Just
Now,
because
is he head up alignment, or what's his alignment?
you can play with it.
Depending on what you're getting?
Yeah, Alabama is outside. They always play outside for some reason. And then when we went to Georgia and we talked to Kirby Smart, he changes it because he was like, well, how does Alabama get beat? He's like, they get beat inside. Why? Because everybody knows the star lines up outside shade. So they always get beat on quick, the number 2 running a quick slant.
Yeah.
The RPO quick slant, Alabama gets beat on it constantly because everybody knows Alabama lines up outside. So you could play around with it. He could be outside, inside, depending on what his rule is for that coverage, kind of should depend on where
Determines on that. Okay, I gotcha. Thank you.
Hey, Coach, is he usually always on the same side with the strong safety, or can you flip it and then it's pretty much the same thing, but the corners would do something different?
So if we flip this, the coverage has to flip. Does that make sense? So
Can you explain that?
So when you get 2x2, so by alignment, we're always going to play some type of cover 2 variation on the backside, because unless you want to pull your mic out of the box, you just have to against 2x2. You'll see when we get into the 3x1s, it'll change totally because there's more we can do on the backside, but you don't. So I can't play mod to both sides. I just can't, because if I do, I've got a 4-1 box, and I've got to walk the mic out because now his rules turn into the similar rules as the star, because it's got to marry each other. So that's why when you split the field in 2x2 sets, you want your star going to whoever you want to take away, and then on that back end, you're going to run cut, you're going to run clip, CC, and you can run some bracket stuff. But versus 2x2 on the back end, on the back side, away from your star, there's only certain things you can do with it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Question: are you also putting your star to the left because the back's also to the left, and that's where the strength is?
No, you don't have. I mean, if the back. Oh shoot! Hold on. There you go backwards. So if the back was on the right-hand side, the money is still relating to 3. All right. So if, say, the back released here and we got a fast 3 to the YX side, he's just going to give a push call. Now everything is just going to push. So he pushing him and then he's going to take his rules. So essentially, he's taking the new 2 or the new 3. He's got him up and inside, and now he's pushing to take over the flat defender, and then he's going to take the corner's going to he's going to mod X.
Okay,
Now
that makes sense.
We've got a
And-
flood to that side. So when I was talking about in the key terms, like fast 3, in 2x2 formations, fast 3 will kill you. It will kill you if your kids don't understand like rules and when we push, what do we do when we push? Because you get a fast 3, or I know you air raid guys like to just, this guy goes fast motion and then they snap it and they throw it out there to him.
Yes, sir.
Or they'll snap it and pump to him and go somewhere else. And if these guys here in the core don't understand the rules of fast 3, they're analysis by paralysis. They're paralysis by analysis because they're sitting there having to think about it. So
Coach,
yeah.
Coach, in a speed option to your money, to your defensive end, and to your star, if they zone block it on an inside zone to the running back, who takes quarterback, who takes pitch, and who takes the bubble from H in an RPO system out of star? This is one thing I've never seen, and no one's actually ever offered that to me, because I'm going to leave the DN free, let him come. You know, you got to take 1 of 3 people. Take the pass, take the running back, take the quarterback.
So since you asked that question, I'm going to go to it.
Let's do it, Coach. Teach me.
So when you get teams that are RPO heavy,
Yes, sir.
you're getting the zone read action, the end is here. So we're going to play mix. So what mix does is it automatically tells the star if he sees mesh action, the running back quarterback mesh, he's going to jump into the fit. That makes sense. And we're going to stunt the front. So if you hear Alabama guys talk, or I call them Sabanites, you hear them talk about Jimmy and Pony. So they're going to stunt the front. They're going to run Jimmy where he's going to just stunt to the B gap because he now knows I've got the star jumping into the run fit. And then how they handle this outside is the strong safety is reading 2. If 2's vertical, he's got man to man. If 2 goes in or out, he's coming out of the roof and taking it. So when you get that bubble action, he's coming out of the roof right now to go get it. And that's what they do against RPO heavy teams.
So, question. It's great that you're telling us about them read. So, the corner, both corners, their eyes are as if they're playing man.
So
on
the front side, if he's mod, his eyes are on his guy.
Okay.
And that's the huge thing. You know, like I'll ask coaches all the time, like, you know, what kind of coverage do you guys run? Are you spot dropping, or are you playing match? And everybody's like, oh, we play match. We zone match. We man match. Okay, well, where are your guys' eyes?
Yeah.
And they're like, you're looking at the quarterback, you're not matching, because matching means I have to see the pattern develop for me to be able to match it. So if you're corners that are peeking in the backfield, you can't be pattern matching because you're not seeing the pattern.
Great. So I mean, I'm the one defensive, probably one of the few defensive guys in here. So I mean, when you came on, this was huge to me because we play a lot of man. So what's your your star and your safeties? Where are their eyes then?
They're on their men.
Okay. So
like,
all of this right here, so all of this initially is their eyes are on their man,
yes.
with the exception of what you just had. When would he know? Or I assume if you called mix, that's when his eyes aren't on his man.
Yes, his eyes go. He's reading the in-man to the mesh.
Okay.
And then if he gets the mesh, he triggers. He's in the run fit. If he doesn't, he's just going to put – I mean, so mix is mod, except that's the only change. And as we go through these, all of them pretty much are the same. There's only like one guy that his rules change. And that's why I said it's one of those, it's a coverage family that can answer all of your questions. So you're not going to run, like, I'm not going to run mod all day. I mean, I'm going to run it, but then I'm going to run mix, and I'm going to run bracket, and I'm going to run switch. And because one person's rules changing, the quarterbacks, his read has got to change how he's reading guys. Because 1 minute he may see, so I'll go to the next one, which is box. Only thing that really changed is now look at the corner.
His alignment.
He's off, and he's got under rules. So if I'm playing mod and I'm getting smoke checked by smash concept, right? Because the corner, he's press belling, he sees the hitch, he's got that guy, he's got to take him. The star has got the the star is gonna, float over, and then the corner route, the strong safety's got it. But nowadays they teach those guys, hey, if the safety's leveraging you, snap it off, turn it into an out, and you get beat. Yeah, that's just one of those. In mod, that's you get beat. You can get beat by the smash concept if that receiver and quarterback, are they're good. They're good. So you want to stop that from happening, you play box. Now I back the corner off. Now if that route snaps, that hitch route snaps at 7-8 yards, I'm just going to zone off now because I have my under rules. My under rules is I'm letting anything under 10 yards, I'm letting it go because it pushes to my first to flat play. So now when that H is running that corner route, I've got somebody up under it, and then I've got somebody over top.
Yeah. Coach, what is when you say mod, and I know you say man on deep, what is he determining? What is deep? Like, what's the?
So
I guess
when
yeah.
we play mod, I tell my guys if the route does not go beyond 10 yards, he's not mod. You don't have him. You're give it to the flat player.
Okay.
Because the problem is somebody runs a hitch at 5. Some teams run a hitch at 7. Some people run the speed out at 8. And if you give them that vanilla, 5 yards, I'm like, shit, there's barely any routes at 5 yards anymore.
Or they call a sticks call.
Yeah, or they call sticks. So I give them a flat rule of 10 yards, you got him. Under 10 yards, give an undercall, give it to the flat guy. Because he can play my first to flat, so say 2 goes away.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get a push call, right?
Yeah.
I can sink and then go. I don't have to jump a route, a 2-yard route. I've got time to sink because I'm watching the routes develop in front of me and I'm not looking at the quarterback. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now with the mod, if he doesn't get something after 10 yards, is he just sinking?
Yeah, he's just sinking.
Okay.
You sink, and what we call it sink and squeeze back to the next zone.
Gotcha.
Because you have no one in your area, so we're going to sink back over to the next zone, and now we're going to look for work.
And if that number 2 goes vertical, then you have 2 guys technically on him.
2 guys got it. So if you've ever, when Alabama was really making their runs, if you noticed, they never, like, the only way you could beat them were teams that were great going vertical, especially like Johnny Manziel, and they were throwing those 50-50 balls to Mike Evans, and that was like the only team that could beat them. And then Ole Miss, same thing when they had, Laquan Treadwell and those guys, because they said that when they run cover 7, you're not going to throw the short stuff and, make a move and, run for 80 yards. They got you. It's a close coverage, but it is susceptible to being beat deep when your dude is better than my dude. And that's how they live.
Coach, with Coach Paul Ernest just asked if it would work for a flood concept. I'm going to throw what the Lions do and the Vikings do with the Z and the H. A73. You know what's coming. Everyone knows it's either a clear out route or a post from the Z. H has the corner, and R has like a flat or whatever. Everyone in the NFL does it. They're keying on the star, right, not the corner. Because I already know if your corner's lined off 5 to 7, I'm like, all right, I'm going on the running back right now. If the corner's not there, dropping it off. I'm gonna make that money work. I'm gonna make the cash sign. I'm gonna make him make a play. Is that true or is that not? Because the flood concept, you flood the zone, but flood where they're weak. Is that what he was talking about or no?
Kinda. So when you're getting switch routes, one's going behind two or two's going behind one, um, you wanna run switch.
Yes, Mia.
So what switch does is the corner's gonna meg that Z and the star's gonna meg H. And that means man everywhere he goes. He goes to take a poop, you go wipe his butt. Now, if they crisscross, you get an IO call, which is inside outside. So at 10 yards, if they have not crisscrossed, I gotta take that dude. But at 10 yards, if they crisscross, we're just gonna switch. And then everybody else, and now, so when you said you get that R going out here, he's the money's right now. That's my guy. I gotta go get him. Because there isn't a no cover zone. So I see him flare out and we're in switch, I'm going to get him right now. And then the strong safety just sits over top and he's helping out.
It just went in there.
So does that answer your question about that route concept?
Yeah, thank you, Coach.
All right, where were we at? We were at box. All right, so box. It's the same as mod, except now you've got a smash rule built in, and the corner's off, so he can see better. So you got mod, then you got box. The next one we teach is mix. Because like I say, you get the guys doing the RPO stuff and the zone read with the bubble. This is how you handle it: is you run mix. Get the star into the run fit. And the safety's going to come out of the roof on 2, going in or out, or he bubbles. So that's mix. The next one you got is cut. And cut is what all of this on the backside has been cut. So you can play cut to both sides, but I wouldn't do it, but you can do it. Bracket. So bracket is when you have a guy that you're having trouble with and you want to bracket him. So the corner is going to meg number 1. That's man everywhere he goes. Like I said, he goes to the bathroom, he's going to wipe his butt. The star is man to man on number 2 unless he gets a fast 3 and a push call. And then the money is going to relate to 3 and he's always going to be able to give a push call. The big thing that changes here is with the strong safety. So he's just supposed to play a robber technique. All right. So if it's the Z that's giving us trouble, he's going to play robber technique and he's going to give an Oklahoma call. That means he's going to help the guy on the outside. All right. So he's going to help the Z. If he gives an Iowa call, that he's telling the star that he's got help. He's going to help the star. And that's how
Quick question, Coach.
Yeah.
On the Meg, I've heard of the Meg before. It's man everywhere he goes. So even if he runs a shallow route, let's say he runs a mesh to looking at the screen to the right, that corner's still gonna follow him, or does he drop?
Nope.
He's just still following.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. I heard somewhere that you don't chase the shallow route.
Yeah. When he's in Meg,
When he's in Meg, he's there.
Man,
Gotcha.
everywhere he goes. Now there is a mess call where it's man everywhere.
Short. Oh, yeah.
Short.
Yep.
Now, if he was playing mess, he'd let him go.
Gotcha.
Make his zone off. But when he's in Meg, he goes back across field. He takes him back across.
Done. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
So that's bracket.
Coach G,
Yes, sir.
what's the alignment on that corner on Meg? I mean, is he?
He's pressed.
Yeah, I understand press, but I mean, is he shoulders over shoulders there, or is he got an inside to try to take away a shallow?
You can. The way I teach it is I always want him outside releasing so that my guy can turn and run. And what I tell my corners, when you're in Meg, you better not let him inside. And when he does get outside, you better go put his ass in the stands. Because,
Makes sense.
unless we're playing bracket, 9 times out of 10, you don't have help. The help is normally for the star. So when you're in Meg and that guy outside releases, you better go put his ass in the stands. Because, I mean, it's this defense is really predicated on what your corner's abilities are. So last year we had a bunch of short guys, so we didn't mag and we didn't press a lot. But I always tell defensive, especially secondary guys, I'm like, if you got a tall kid that's athletic and can run, I was like, make him the corner. I was like, because that deters a lot. When you've got like a 6'2", 180-pound kid that can run, I can give two shits if he don't intercept the pass all year. But just the stature of him takes away a lot of throws. So I always like tall, athletic kids. I was like, we had a kid, Trajan. He's a junior. I mean, he's 6'2", runs like a deer, but he couldn't fucking catch a cold. And I mean, he won't. He just can't. I mean, even in ball drills, he drops balls constantly. I mean, it just looks awkward watching him try to catch the football. But he's a great corner because he can run with guys, and his height takes away a lot of those where teams try to throw the guy open on the fade. Yeah, you got it because you got to get it over him. So,
Coach, what's your alignments for the strong safety and the free safety in this 2x2?
It is talent dependent. If you've got a nice rangy guy who can cover some ground, I scoot him up to about 9 to 10. If your dude isn't, but I mean he can read, but he's not fast, I'd keep him back at 12.
Gotcha. And they're are they apexing or on the number 2 receivers, or
depending on what coverage you're running.
Okay.
They'll be apexed. Some they'll be head up on 2, and then there's some like in bracket. If I'm in an Oklahoma call, I'm gonna slide him. I'm gonna let him cheat a little bit because he's helping.
He's got to help out. Yeah. Gotcha.
Baiting the cover 3 out of that. I used to always ask Coach Fracassa and Coach Harrington, hey, what coverage are they in? And they're cover 3. The corner's turning his outside hip. He's facing the sideline immediately on the release. Is that what you do in bracket, or is that what you do in box? Is you teach the corner like, hey, he wants to go vertical, just force him to the sideline.
Yeah, just force him to the sideline, man turn.
Okay, if someone finally explained it to me. Thank you, Coach.
All right, so that's bracket. And then we've got switch. Is what we talked about when you start getting the crossing routes, where 2's going behind 1 or 1's, your scissors concepts, things like that. You want to play switch. Where, like I said, the corner and the star or Megan, Z and H, and then at 10 yards they'll buy them. So if the cross action hasn't happened before 10 yards, then you're just going to take who you got. And then you've got the strong safety is helping out over the top for both. So the backside coverages, like I was saying earlier, they're normally like a cover 2 type coverage, cut, which you've seen in all the slides. I just put it for simplicity. And then CC is actually bracket. You don't call it bracket. You call it bracket. Whatever the front side coverage is, and you call it bracket on the backside is CC. Then you can also play some mod and some switch. The check on the backside is usually flank dependent. So if you're getting two receiver sets, you can run switch. If you're getting the pro flank, you're probably want to run cut. And then you'll see when we switch over to the 3x1 coverages, you'll see a lot of Meg and cone when you get that one split on the backside. defeating some of the pass concepts. Like I said, if you're getting inside breaking routes, number one is behind number two. Probably want to run switch. If you're getting verticals, corner routes, out breaking routes, bracket is really good because, like I said, you've got that strong safety over top, helping the corner and the star on those corner routes, which can be tricky for those guys to cover. And that is the end of 2x2. Any questions on defending 2x2 sets, 10 personnel?
Can I get a copy of that presentation?
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be good. More, I guess, a logistical question is when you're, how do I want to say this? How are you calling the plays?
So let me go back in here.
I guess my question is this: how are you calling the plays? But if they come out in something different, then do they have the freedom to make a check to like flip the coverage?
So when we game plan, we'll say, okay, this week we like mod, mix, and bracket. So 2x2, this is what we're going to play. Now we get a motion to trips. There's a trips check.
Check calls.
So,
Gotcha.
what our game plan is our 2x2s that we're going to cover, we're going to carry that week have to do with what are they trying to do to us? And that's how we figure out our 2x2s. The 3x1s is, we play stump, stubby, and then we play poach. So those are three 3x1s that we carry. Because if we're getting some smash concepts, we kind of want to stay away from stump. We'll play more stubby because it's kind of like mod and box. It has a built-in smash rule for the smash concept. If we're getting a lot of the three bending back across the field, which are four vertical type looks, will be poach heavy because we'll have that backside free safety poaching. So the call will come in. So say that they haven't broken the huddle or they're getting lined up and we see it's 2x2, I'll call out because I sit in the box and I'll call down and I'll be like, my left cut right, stump. And they know mods to the left, cuts to the right. If they motion the trips, we're going to play stump.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Coach Gant, what's your alignment with your safeties here in this 2x2? I know you said if you got a stud, you play him at 9 and then get as deep as the 12. But what about inside-outside leverage? Are they on a hash landmark or are they based on number 2?
Based on number 2 and what their rules are. So if they're a 2-to-1 read, we usually play the apex in-man line of scrimmage number 2. If they've got something like in bracket, where they've got an Oklahoma-Iowa call, if they're going to be outside, I'd like them head up on number 2 to help get easy access to number 1. But like I said, if you've got a stud and you can keep him in the same spot all the time and not tip your hat, the better. But I mean, we all know this is high school football. One year you could have a stud and then you probably won't get another one at that position for like 5 years. So it's just,
Yeah. One more question then on that is, what's the run responsibilities of those safeties?
They don't. They are secondary force players.
Okay, so like on the mod double you're showing here, if you get some kind of outside run, which is you got your running back set up to take an outside run there, what's the technique then? Is that your Mike? Is he the D gap right now with the money player cutback? How are you playing that without any safety invert?
A lot of things that we do is we stunt the front. Can you see my mouse indicator? So what we'll do if we're starting to get a heavy dose of this or outside zone, what I mean by stunt the front is I guess old school guys call it pirate, where he's going to go B gap, he's going to A gap, we're going to bounce it to the money and the free safety. because we don't want to play that game of these guys getting pushed out, he gets climbed to. So we're just going to cancel A and B, make you bounce it, and now we've got a free runner and a free runner, and the corner should control the numbers.
So that's one of the things that took us out of a too-high safety was not having a safety that could cover and get downhill on the run. So what you're describing here is something that you could put cover guys on the back end. Then I need to get with you on that. So
yeah, we just stunt the front, and we do it if the back was to the other side and they're running, trying to get to that B gap bubble. We're just gonna pony it. We're just gonna get him into the B gap right now, and then you've got 1, 2, and 3 that can come down and play the run. We just don't want it in the A and B gaps, so we'll just stunt the front. Any other questions on the 2x2 stuff? All right, so we'll move to 3x1. So like I said, the first one we got is stubby. Backside, play 7 rules. If it's a wide receiver, we can play cone, dog, or meg. If it's a tight end, we can play cop, sheriff, and all that's saying is it'll show in the diagram. All it is the free safety and the corner are going to change responsibilities, because I don't want a corner having to come up and play a tight end, or that big type kid that they got lined up at tight end. I don't want him having to fight that block. So we're just going to spin the cornerback, spin the safety down, and now I've got a thumper down there. It's if it's a wide receiver and running back, you get a Connie call. So here's stubby, working from left to right. So it's stubby left, cone to the right. The Z, the corner's got the Z, he's Meg. He's got him everywhere he goes. He goes to the bathroom, he wipes his butt. The star's reading 3-2. All right. And then the strong safety is also reading 3-2. The money is going to post 3, but he doesn't have to carry. What we mean by post is exactly that. Think of that Mike line, the money backer is standing there, and at the snap of the ball, he sees his pass. It's just like basketball. He's going to turn and open his shoulders to the outside, and he's not letting 3 back across the field. All right, he's just going to post him up. Now, if 3 goes vertical, he's not going to carry him, but he's going to collision him to hand him off to the strong safety. Because the strong safety, his rules are 3 goes vertical, I got him. I know I got underneath help from the money. The star, if 2's vertical, I got him. If 2's out, I got him. 2 goes in. Obviously, he's not the 2 anymore. He's the new 3. So the money will pick him up. If 3 goes out, the star will pick him up. And then on the backside with the Meg, Mike has got number 4 or the first crosser. So he's got the back or the first crosser coming back across. Right. The corner, he's Meg and cone. So what does cone mean? Cone means if that guy releases outside, I've got him man to man. I got to put him in the stands. I don't have any help. All right. If he releases inside and gets vertical, I know I have safety help. So we tell the kids all the time, that backside guy, he's got to be a dude. Like, you're going to earn your scholarship money. You're outside shade. You want to force inside because you have help inside. But, we all know as high school coaches, there's always that one kid that always gets beat outside. And then he's like, I ain't got no help, coach. Well, quit letting him get outside. So that's the big teaching point about cone, is inside release. You get him to go inside, you got safety help over the top. He releases outside of you, you have no help. You've got him man to man.
Coach, can you go over that Mike's responsibility again with the number 4 first crosser?
He's got number 4. So what that means is if this back, right, if he comes this way, I've got him man to man. All right. But if the back goes away from me, all right, I can pick up a crosser.
Gotcha.
That makes sense?
Yep. So he's looking for, yep, I got you now. Thank you.
So as the formations change, because the first one he was in pistol. Now we're not in pistol. We've got what we call a 4 load. All right, they're strong 4 loaded. All right, alert frozen with the running back strong. All right, and it's kind of funny because what it just means is now I can let him go. Kind of like from the movie Frozen. So what that tells them is if I get crossers, I can let him go because I'm frozen, because the back is on this side. He knows there is no number 4 because he's over there, so he can take crossers. So we give him a frozen call. So nothing else changes. That's just the big thing with the back.
Hey, Coach. On that last one, your back, especially on this frozen side, because he's not walling through off this time, correct?
Correct.
So is he going to even try and get hands on that guy if he does try and go across? Is he going to try and get hands on as he's keeping his eyes on the back?
Yes.
Okay.
But, yeah, because when you get that, like Y goes shallow and then he replaces, he's just going to get hands on and he knows he's relating to 3. So as this changes, the R now becomes the new 3. So that's where the frozen goes. He knows that he can let the Y go. He can let him go. Let him go.
Perfect.
So when the back is to the weak side, back away, gun far, we get a Connie check, and all that means that's for the MAC and the corner. The Connie is if the X split is condensed, you get a Connie call. So what happens is X goes inside, Mac's going to take him, and he's going to take the back coming out of the backfield. It's just something that, because what you'll get in this concept is this dude will drive here, and then this dude runs that wheel route, and I'd rather my corner have him than the Mac have him. So that's the only difference when you get the back away from the trips. You can get a Connie call in. And here we go, cop sheriff.
Coach, who makes that Connie call?
If the Mac is smart, he makes it first.
Okay.
He'll look and he'll see that condensed split and he'll see that back. And then even if the back is what we call chow, if he's chow, he's cheated out wide. And we know he's not he better make a damn Connie call because it's helping him. But we in spring ball, because our offense does a lot of trips with the back away, and they try to do the little 2-man game on that side. So our kids get good at getting the Connie call, especially my backers, because they're like, well, shit, I'm tired of chasing our stud running back on a damn wheel route, and I'm getting beat. Well, make the Connie call. Fucking make the corner take it. This one's sheriff. We call it sheriff and cop. When you get the nub on the back end, the backside. All right, we can flip. You can see right here. So if we want the corner down, it's cop. If we want the free safety down, it's sheriff. And all it is they're just switching responsibilities. Because like I said, if this is a big dude and he's arc releasing, I don't want him blocking my corner. Because 9 times out of 10, corners try to make those business decisions, even though they're not making no money in high school. So I'd rather have a guy that's going to tackle and want to get nasty. So we'll flip it because we do get a lot of teams in our area with this Y. He's not a Y at all. He's a freaking lineman. They just bring him in because they think that they can get this edge on the backside. So we'll just flip it and we'll bring our free safety down. Then that's what it looks like against Trey. All right. So when we get bunches, we have what we call bingo check.
Coach, can I get you to go back to that slide of the tray, please, before you get started?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Also, go blue.
You and this go blue.
I will live and die on it, brother. I will live and die on it.
Blue, past tense for blow. I just need to get a screenshot, Coach. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problems. So our bingo. This is what it looks like. Bingo when we get our bunch sets. If one stays one, this is how it plays out. If one stays one, the corner is going to stay on one. The star is taking anything to the flats. The money is taking anything inside, and then you've got the strong safety over the top for anybody who might come vertical. If he doesn't get anybody vertical, he can help. He can rob one.
Who's the best and worst person to block out of this in a bubble screen to the Z, an outside bubble? With outside bubble with the option to throw the fade route to the Y. So slip screen fade. So Z comes in, Y and H. Who are your most dangerous men on defense? Who do you not like them blocking, and who do you like them blocking?
I would say if you're running the slip screen, I would star, and I would go get the money, because the safety's flat-footed and he's at 10. If he's a guy, you know, just like spread offenses, that's what you're looking for, is that one-on-one in space, you know, with the dude. Because I know some teams try to block it differently, and they attack, you know, like the star in the corner, and then you're leaving like two thumpers coming downhill to come get your dude. Like, I mean, I would attack the star and the backer and make the corner and strong safety make their money.
Yeah, I lost a couple friends throwing that throw. So yeah, thank you, Coach.
Hey, Coach. When you say if this guy stays one, are you saying if he as long as he doesn't go past 10, or what are you saying there?
Now, so you see I switched the screen on you. So this is
yeah.
If one goes behind 2. All right, so 1 is going behind 2. All right, so now the star's taking first to flat. He's taking here, and the corner is going to zone off. All right, he's got the first outside deep threat, and the strong safety has got out deep and inside. So star is short and outside. The money is short and inside. The corner is deep and outside. Strong safety's deep and inside. So now it turns kind of into a box. We're gonna box them 4/3. That's if one goes behind 2. So you get those spacing concepts, things of that nature. This is how bingo. That's how it plays out.
And so I guess in the other slide, the Z went. So will the guys, I guess, based upon what you teach them in this bingo, if the corner sees Z is going in, is he going to make some type of call in the process?
Nope, because everyone knows. So the star's pressing the point, and the reason we press the point is because we want one to stay one. It just becomes.
Is he present his outside shoulder where
Yes.
he's able to look through
to Z? Yep. Or
Okay.
he's looking through the H.
Through the okay.
And see, this is my big thing when I was talking about at the beginning, was if your guys are not watching guys, you're not playing match.
Agreed. Agreed.
I mean, if that dude, if any of these kids are staring at the quarterback, they can't see what's developing. So it always like pet peeve with defensive coaches when they're like, "Oh, we play zone match." Well, why is your dude staring at the quarterback? You can't see the coach. So that's our bingo check. If you happen to get empty, we're gonna check sack, which is pretty much stubby to the left, switch to the right. And that's just because we can now handle when you got 2 to the backside, now we can handle it because there is no running back threat. I can empty this out, and then we're gonna play games up front. But it lets us, this is what allows us to handle empty and teams not know, because I mean, I've been places where, oh, what do we do? We see empty. Oh, we're just gonna play cover 2. What? Like, really? And then it's like, that's our only empty check? Well, shit, after like 5 weeks, teams, I just line up and go empty every week.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is, our check to it, which is sack is stubby to the left, switch to the right.
Coach, if you got a running quarterback out of that empty, would you still run that?
If you have a running quarterback, I'm not playing cover 7 at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you watched the evolution of Alabama, what has always been their Achilles heel?
Running quarterbacks.
Mobile quarterbacks. Because what are we doing? We're playing man coverage. So after guys have gone 5 yards down the field, guys' backs should be turned because they should be reading routes and they're not staring at the quarterback. So if he scrambles and he's just getting out and running, it becomes a problem. So yeah, if the quarterback is mobile, I'm not playing cover 7.
Gotcha.
Just not gonna do it. We're gonna play Rip Liz 3-6 zone. So now my guys can vision what's going on, and we're playing the zone coverages from top down. So now if the quarterback takes off running, I've got guys that can handle
Got eyes on them. Okay. Thank you.
Coach, can you only use this with a 40 front?
What's that?
Can you only use this with a 40 front?
No, you can play it out of 30, because I'm a firm believer. If you're in a 30 front, I'm always bringing one backer because I always want to have 4. So it wouldn't change. So like if I was to, let me go back here. I will actually go to stump. So like say, this is my, outside linebacker in a 3-4, and I just slide him over, slide the nose over, slide him over, and I'm just going to insert one of these guys. Well, if you watch, Georgia does it a lot. They'll play their mint front, which is the 4 eyes, the 0, and the jack is always the dedicated blitzer to give them 4, and they still play cover 7 behind it.
What about when U of M played Middle Tennessee State? Coach Brown ran that 30-30 stack, and they also played Army in the 30-30 stack to base defense against this offense. I mean, given the running back can either go empty or it can be strength or it can be away, does that change your money and does that change your mic call? Are they flat in their responsibility with motion? Because I feel like those teams just tried to mess with the base gap defense, and it's not showing here. I mean, right here you're giving answers to everything we can give, like, oh, what about the corner? What about the star? Does it change when you play an option offense, like a purely option offense?
It could, but I wouldn't, against an option offense, I wouldn't run cover 7. Because when you're playing option football, and this is just my own opinion. Some dudes believe it, some dudes don't. If you're an option, like even spread option teams, I'm not going to be too high, because if you play the game, he's got B gap, the tackle's got the A, the Mike's got the B, he's got the C gap, B gap, C gap. Even if I put him in the A gap, now when we play option football, they're reading somebody. So technically they've added another gap. And I don't have enough out of too high structure. There's not enough hats to fill gaps. So I have to figure out ways to steal gaps if I'm too high. And if you're a option football team, that means every play you're creating extra gaps. And I was like, I don't want to have to steal gaps every play of a football game. So I'm going to go one high and I'm going to match you. Now, the big killer is, quarterback's running the ball. Like we played a team 2 years ago where the quarterback would take the snap. They're in the Y. He turned around. He just threw the ball to the deepest dude, and then he inserted himself to go block. And I was like, that's fucked up. Like, we have to win.
So who's your key? Like, say we're playing Middle Tennessee State. They did this a whole bunch last year with this formation, trips right pistol, Tony DeMeo style offense. So you give me this, I'm going to run ISO. Give me this, I'm going to leverage inside read off that F or off the E. Who's your key for your star and for your money for me to to teach my guys, here's where your eyes go. Here's where you're looking at. Don't look at the quarterback. 2 or 3, read them. If it's a run, you'll see it. If not, inside out is what I coach the guys. But if you're coaching against Tony DeMeo, coaching against, Middle Tennessee State, Georgia Tech, Navy, Army, they line up in this. Where do your eyes go immediately right now in stump versus trio? Where do your eyes go?
So for the star, he should be looking through H and Z to the quarterback for snap of the ball.
Okay.
And then once he gets the snap of the ball, because his rule is I got first to the flat unless all 3 Z, H, and Y are vertical. So because I got that, he can kind of start pedaling, not to the flat, but he can kind of start pedaling and getting some depth, right? And he can see. Now, because his rule is I've got the first to the flat. So if all of these guys are going vertical, Z is going vertical, H is going vertical, Y is going vertical, he can see that as he's pedaling. All right. And he knows I've got outside help over the top. Because so the difference between Stubby and Stump is Stump has the smash rule built in. So he knows I've got the corner is dropping to the third. All right, he's taking it. He's got Z mod man on deep, but he's off. He's not pressed up, on the guy. All right, so the star can look H through the Y to the mesh. All right, so if you get where you're getting this and the bubble, I'm good. Because what did Y do? He bubbled. Where'd he go? Went to the flats. What's my rule? Got first to the flats. Bam, I trigger. I roll with it. Now the big thing with the option teams is I would if you plan to do this, I would always stunt the front. Always. Every play, I would stunt the front because I don't want runs hitting in the middle. Because what's this concept? The middle of the field is open. So middle field open concepts, your middle of the formation is vulnerable. So I'm going to stop that right now. Yep. Getting the A gap, getting the B gap. We're clogging that up. It bounces out. Guess what? I got money. I got strong safety. I got star. I got corner. They can come rally to the football. All right. But if I get, kick out, double team, and this dude is a hitter, look at that. I mean, he's gone. Because where's the money's eyes at originally? He's got to look and see what three's doing. The only one that's got eyes on him is the Mac, but we all know what this does. Combo, climb to the Mac. He hits. Now he's running. Oops. He's running down the middle of the field untouched. So I'm always stunt the front. If there any type inside zone, that tackle wrap, dart, power, one, with the one back, I'm going to stunt the front. I'm going to always stunt the front because I want to spill everything outside to my dudes that aren't in there with the heavy hitters.
Does that matter? You're going to stunt the front to the wide side of the field? I mean, that's payday. I mean, I see you want to stunt to the wide side. Oh, I want the inside going in. I'm like, okay, well, I got to D-tackle on my running back now. Let's go.
Yeah. You can stun it on the backside too. So there's a Jimmy and a Pony call. Jimmy is the 5 and the 3. It's like the old school pirate. And then Pony is just the 5 technique is going to stunt into the B gap. We're going to take away. We're going to kill the bubble before you try to attack it.
Does that also take away the slants to the inside if your F and your E take B, not outside contain? Or how do you coach that? Because if the lineman can take away a throwing lane, they're going to take away one, right?
Yeah. When you're playing cover 7, you really don't care about the throwing lanes because it's a close coverage. So I'm taking, now if I was playing cover 8, which is quarter, half zone coverage, now I'm worried about throwing lanes.
Okay. But if we get trips, do you want the defensive end, the E, taking away a throwing lane, or do you want the F dropping? Like, it's a give and take here with cover 7. What do you prefer? What do you like? Because I'm learning as much as you, Coach. Thank you.
what do you mean by F dropping? Like,
I mean, does the F want? Do you want to apply pressure? Do you just want to set the edge? Do you want to go for a sack? Do you want to go for the give, the fake, whatever? Does F just play soft here and get his 2 steps and sit?
ooh, so
Because
what
that's a dangerous game, coach, and I still want to learn.
it's and it depends on what kind of dude do you have. Like for us last year, and I mean it's gonna break my heart. Our F he used to be our star. So a kid's 6'2", 225, and we were having trouble up front, and we moved him from star to F. And his rules were, hey, if the front is not stunted, get through that dude's outside shoulder and go make a play.
So with this being said, Coach, I got to watch Coach Fracassa at 80 years old argue with his grandson that I coached the offense with about that F being a stand-up end or being a down, 3-point stance F. He was saying he's a big dude. He's 6'8". He has the leverage. He has the advantage. You need to help the will, your money in this case. You need to help our Viper, the star in this case. And our safety plays at 12. He's sitting there anyway. He needs to be standing up to take away that lane. And I remember just sitting there going, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I want to learn.
If you're getting quick hitters,
Yep.
stand him up. I mean, I'm one of those believers. Don't force a kid to do something he can't do. At 6'8", that's a lot of body to get down in the 3-point stance, fire off, get leverage, and now you want him to put his hands up. All week you've been yelling at him, keep your pad level down and get through the fucking, get through the tackle. Now
Yeah.
him to freaking stand up and put his hands up. To me, that's absurd. Like, why not
So
just stand him up?
What threatens him if he goes down in a 3-point versus, him being a stand-up F? What's threatening you right now?
Nothing. I mean, yeah. That's one of those. And, I mean, it's funny. You get into conversation, especially with older defensive coordinators, and they're like, oh, we got to do – no. It's what the kid can do.
Yeah, I mean, they're 80, so I'm not going to question them, Coach, but I still want to learn.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it just sometimes with those guys, you just got to nod your head and keep the conversation rolling.
Yes, sir. Sorry to interrupt, Coach. It's my bad.
You're good.
So, Coach, quick question.
Yeah.
Run keying. So you said the money, his eyes is on number 3. So how is he reading to get a run key if it's a run play?
And man on the line of scrimmage. High hat, low hat.
Okay, so he's reading through that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What the great thing about it, when we're in the 3x1 stuff, he doesn't have to carry 3. Remember, a lot of the in 2x2, he had 3 man-to-man, relate to final 3, things like that. He doesn't have to carry 3 because 9 times out of 10, strong safety is going to take 3.
Vertical. Gotcha. Thank you.
That's his read is 3-2. So he can post him. He's not going to allow him get back across the field, but he doesn't have to carry him anymore.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So question about the money as well. So your money is a backer, correct?
Yes, he's a backer. Money and Mac are backers.
Okay, so he is still thinking, hey, run for take those initial steps and then do my job, right?
Yes.
I guess.
That's why we always set our 3 and our 5 to the trips. So it kind of takes him. He doesn't have to worry about the run as much because we'll make the Mac. The Mac will be A to B. And then if we need to, we'll just stunt the fronts and take away the A's and the B's, and now they're not worried about A/B.
So now the money becomes a free hitter.
Yeah, exactly. He becomes
a plus. Gotcha. Thanks for that question. That helps out. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Coach, with that pistol look out of the trips, I remember Carson Wentz first year in the NFL. He motioned the R from the weak side back to pistol, and we saw the nose and tackle shift. Tackle went from B to A. Nose went from square up to square up with the guard. What are you trading off in that? How does that help your DBs?
So the R started here, He
Yep.
went to
Yep.
pistol. And
Yep.
these guys moved?
The nose and tackle just shifted one to the left. They were outside, then went to inside leverage, and I'm sitting there going, okay, this is the NFL. They're doing this for a reason. Why?
The other big thing I can say is probably matchups. Because the NFL is so matchup driven. One day, like if I'll talk about Rip Liz, the 3-6, and the way it marries with cover one, it would blow your mind. Like I learned it from a guy that's with the Detroit Lions, and it's crazy. Like they play zone coverage, and they can make it look like man. So it's like one high, they're playing cover three, and like like the star in the one high, if he's got, H goes in motion, right? They can sling him across because it was like he's like there's three ways we can handle motion. He's like we can sling it, we can spin it, or we can slide it. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah. And he was so. I mean, essentially, can everybody see the pointer? So in Ripley's match, so say I wanted to, I'm going to drop my free safety down. Strong safety is going to the middle. The corners are deep. All right, that's the premise of it. If this guy goes in motion, they'll take him back across and reset the defense, and now free safety will go to the post. The strong safety drops down, and because you've seen that, you're like, they got to be in man, but it's not man, it's zone.
It's man 100%.
Yeah, but it's a zone coverage. But they're like, those are the different ways we can do it. He's like, you can spin the formation, you can sling it, or you can just slide guys over. And I was like, holy shit! I was like, that's crazy. But because the NFL is so matchup driven, when I want that guy on that guy, and we're playing zone, dude, that's how we're going to do it because I want him in the vicinity of that player.
Would you ever take a running back and put him at H and send him across out of trips?
Take the running back, put him.
Take your H and put him. Yeah, take a running back, your speed guy, not your big bruiser, but your speed guy. Put him at H and just leak him across on a dump route against this concept against cover 7 because I see you're weak. I just run a slant with X or a post, run the corner off, and make the safety make a play. Or does the Mike have the responsibility of the flat out of motion? Whether Z, H, Y, anyone goes in motion, who has the responsibility of backside flat? Because that's what I've been attacking for the past 2 years, and quite frankly, it's worked pretty well because they show late.
Mm-hmm. So what we do when you leave the 3-by-1 structure, we can't. We're not going to play what's called. So let me get back. So you see it down here, motion to 2-by-2.
Thank you, coaches. By the way, thank you guys for letting me interrupt. Thank you, guys.
No, so you see right here, motion back to 2-by-2, we go to cover 6. So any motion that breaks the 3-by-1 structure, we can't play. We're not going to play any of these coverages. We're going to revert back to.
Even if I wanted to say, like, hey, we're going to mess with them, we're going to go Trey. We're going to put the tight end in.
Yeah. And that's
right there. Yep, right there. Yep, right there.
Yeah. So if you can't, we could still play it. We'll just play cop and sheriff.
What is there any reason? Like you said, he's not making a financial decision. Doesn't have kids. He's not playing for a contract. There's no reason for this kid to hit the Y.
Yeah.
What if you have the Z going across? Then it's a jet. Who takes him?
So like out of this formation, Z comes across.
Yep. So it's a jet give concept.
Okay. So he's coming in motion. Once he breaks the formation, we come out of it because it's no longer a 3-by-1 structure.
Okay.
And so, like I said, like in the other screen, when they motion and it now becomes a 2-by-2 structure, we're going to go to 6, which all that is the free safety is going to spin down and we're going to be one high.
Do you tell them like, hey, bail immediately, like with the motion, or do you tell them like, hey, as the play goes on? Because like if I see you shifting late, oh sorry.
I said once we get the motion, it's automatic. Once the structure is no longer 3-by-1, we have to come out of it, and the automatic check when we're in stump stubby bingo, sack. Once they're out of the 3-by-1 structure, we resort to cover 6.
That's amazing. I've never thought about it like that. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, Coach G.
Yes, sir.
That I thought I might be mistaken, but I could have swore like earlier on the 2-by-2 when another coach had asked like how do you call this? Are you giving, like, for instance, like in this slide here, it's like stump left, cop right. Do you give a third call on the just in case? Or
Yes.
okay.
Or it's not so much a third. So we have automatic checks
Okay.
that we make throughout the week. So like we play Centennial High School, which is probably the best public high school west of the Mississippi. And they will like lull you to sleep with their formations. So I've played them for 3 years now. The first year I played them, they stayed in 2-by-2 the entire game.
They got the 5-star safety, Coach. Good luck.
Yeah. And last year we played them and they stayed in 3-by-1 the entire game. So it was like, shit, like this sucks. But so we play so many 10 personnel teams that we will carry into the week. All right, if trips, this is what we got. We're going stump. We're going stump, Seahawk, and maybe some stubby. All right, and then we'll say the automatic check. If they motion back to 2-by-2, is either we can go to 6, play 3-6, or we can check to mod box. But the thing with checking to mod and box is the kids have to start thinking again. That's the only thing that's tough with that, because okay, shit, I was just in stump, now I'm in box. Okay, all right, got it. But the simple check sometimes is when they motion out of 3-by-1 and go back to 2-by-2. Hey, we're just gonna play rip list. Hey, rotate. Free safety is gonna rotate down. We're gonna play cover 3 man or zone match.
Coach Durso, thank you for that question. I actually wrote that down in my notebook. Thank you. Coach, with that, can you ever play out of trips with this formation or out of double-double, even twins? Can you play cover 7 base against 22 personnel or no?
Against 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends,
2 wide receivers. Yep.
You can. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, but I was just asking, since he formed the question of, hey, with the motion, okay, we're going to default back to 3-6. We're going to shift, make the kids think. And that's the whole thing about the spread style offense that Coach DeMayo has been talking about the past 6 weeks is, hey, make them think. Let's throw in the motion, make them think. Can you ever sit in a pure cover 7 and just be like, all right, we know what you're
doing? You can. I mean, I wouldn't.
What attacks it best? What is the route concepts, or what is the double go back to the cone defense, go back to the other styles? You say, hey, corner's got this, safety's got it. Go back to that, and what is the best counters, like Alabama smash, the curl corner seam out of this formation, and then backside seam? Like, what is this counter best? Like, what plays you like? They're gonna run it. It's coming. Hey, let's go cover 7. Just sit underneath.
With me, my thinking is what do you do really well? That's
okay.
what I look at. And I'm a film nerd. Because I got to do an internship with the Arizona Cardinals, and all I did was like cut up film, practice film, OTAs. And that was like my job. Like, I tell people that and they're like, what? You like Cardinals? Like, did you? Like, no, I didn't have a whistle. All I did was cut up film and like make sure the dummies were in the right place. And that's what I did. But the film part of it made me a film junkie. So I will, I'll jump on Huddle here in a little bit and I'll show you like my breakdown. Like, it's extensive. Like, when I first got to the school that I'm at now, and I was like, let me see your guys' Huddle. And like, they weren't inputting shit. And I was like, well, this is what it's going to look like now. And like the defensive staff was looking at me like, you're crazy. And they were like, you do this by yourself? I was like, I can do 3 games in one day.
Yes, sir.
And they were like, what? Because I need, there's questions that I need to know, because that's how, so I look at defensive game planning. Like when you call a game, it's like you have to tell a story. So the story has to have variations, or it's going to be a pretty boring story and it's going to get figured out. So like when I talk about telling a story, I'm like, okay, first play call, middle of the field's open. Second play call, middle of the field is open, but there's some pressure from the boundary. Next play, middle of the field is closed, and there's some pressure coming from the middle. So I'm like, I want to tell this story, but if you don't have any characters to tell in your story's boring. And then next thing you know, it's fucking 70-6. And, the whole town hates you because you're giving up. You don't have any characters to tell your story.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Can you go over I believe it was 7 now that I've written down. Coaches, correct me. Please correct me. I'm young and stupid, unlike all of you guys. I believe it was 7 coverages, your cone, stump. Going back through my notebook right now. Can you say where you're vulnerable at and what you're giving up? It's a give and take, right? It's a give and take. Can you run it back just one more time through your presentation of here's where I'm weak, but I'm giving this up. And that way I can, gauge a down and distance out of, what you're giving us.
So let me see. I got some notes here.
Thank you, Coach.
Meant to write down I think it might answer some of the questions that you're looking for.
So question, only 3 films a day? Ah.
3 games. I can break down 3 games in a day.
Oh.
So in California, you're only required to give up three prior games.
I assume you also keep prior seasons too on top.
That's amazing.
So, Coach Gant, is that how you say it?
Yes.
So, when you go over game film, do you go the last 3 opponents plus the last time they played you to see if there's any adjustments they made versus you comparatively to other teams on top?
Depends. If it's someone who's in our conference, I don't, because there hasn't been any coaching changes in the past 5 years in our conference. So everybody pretty much does what they do. And it's just, you got to come up with something to figure out. Like Centennial, when we play them, I'm like, hey, let's just stop them from trying to score 100 points and get out of the game healthy. That's just my mindset. Everybody's like, oh, it's the rivalry. No, it's not a fucking rivalry. You've like beat them one time in the history of the school. Like, it's not a rivalry. It's like they're a team that's just that much better. I mean, they're top 5 in the nation every year. Like, and
yeah,
they're like a mile apart. So other teams in our conference, I will look at ways to attack them. And sometimes we'll go out of the box. Like this year we played Roosevelt, and they're always in trips because they've got great wide receivers and they're great athletes. So,
Please tell me you beat them. I'm done watching them on YouTube.
Yeah, we beat them.
Thank you.
They have way better athletes than we do, but they're mental midgets. They fall apart when the game's close and tight. And we just do different things to manipulate them. But around here, it's because the level of football is so high across the entire Inland Empire that it's like you got to know your shit, or you're gonna get you're not gonna last long. I mean, because I've seen guys work at our sister schools, like Corona High School. I work with their defensive coordinator a lot, and he's like, well, why are you so willing to work with me? And I was like, because I don't want to watch you get fired, dude. I mean, it's not your fault, but you can't like sit in country cover 3 in this conference and think that you're going to survive. Like, you're going to get torched.
See, that's the nature of the business. Like here in Ontario, coaching changes for a university level. It kind of quickly changes sometimes, but this past year, one school kept all their staff because they knew it was 2 injuries, but someone was like making a joke. Then the guy's like, "Why are you laughing about it? Like I could lose my job next year."
Yeah. Yeah. So I can show how much time we got left. Holy cow! I've been talking for like over an hour.
Yeah, coaches, I want to apologize. I said this on the page. I'm young, I'm ambitious, and I want to learn everything that football has to offer. And I know there's about 20 of you on this call. I want to be the first to say, coaches, I'm sorry, but this is the first time I've actually been able to stick my dick out there and say, hey, teach me. Like, I'm going to be wrong about what I say, but teach me. So, coaches, thank you for allowing me to do that, and thank you for allowing me to learn. Coach, I'm sorry I interrupted you about 7 or 8 times. I just want to learn.
Oh no, you're good. Oh, jeez, come on, internet.
We all start somewhere. Thanks, Coach Maury. Go blue, baby.
So does anybody have any other questions about cover 7?
Yeah, the cover 7, whenever I see it, I mean, I run Paul Johnson's flex bone, and when you see that, and when we shift to it, what happens if they go trips? Like Tony DeMeo will always talk about matchups and the option. We talked about it about 30 minutes ago. What happens when you have a team that immediately shifts to putting the X and H? Hey, we're going to bring the big boys in. Let's bring the tight end and the fullback. We're going to shift, put the tight end in, put the fullback on the slot. Do you stay in cover 7 or do you call the timeout?
No, we'll immediately check the cover 6.
Thank you, Coach Tony.
Yeah.
Do you immediately call the timeout because of the mismatch, or is it a game time thing? Or
also, it's not a mismatch because my personnel's not going to change. I mean, it's high school football. I got who I got, and I'm a firm believer. My 11 best players are going to be on the field. I don't care what the situation is.
Yes,
so
sir.
You're just going to adjust to you used to talk about they brought those big guys in, so they've added gaps. So I have to come out of too high. You can't play if there's a tight end or 2 tight ends. You can't play a too high structure versus that because you don't have enough men to account for gaps.
Then why do I in 5A football in Michigan and in OAA do I see them playing too high man against my tight ends? They'll jam the fucking box. I'm sorry, coaches, for swearing. I apologize. I'm young. I'm still learning. It's being recorded. My fault. I'll apologize. Whenever I jam 2 tight ends, the safeties immediately come up between 5 and 7 yards.
You have to. I mean, or somebody's good. Because what's the thing? And this is what I tell young defensive coaches all the time.
Let's hear it.
I can still win a football game if a quarterback throws for 400 yards. That's why, like, some of these guys, I mean, and there's no knock on the air raid guys because there's some great ones out there. And, most of the offenses that I've been a part of, the program is air raid. But I can win a football game if the quarterback throws for 400 yards. I cannot win a football game if the fucking running back runs for 200 or 300 yards. Can't. So if you can't stop the run, you could be playing – you could have fucking Nick Saban come be your defensive coordinator. But if you can't stop the run, it don't matter what you're doing. It's going to be a long night. So, with the cover 7 stuff is why can Alabama, why can Georgia, why can they do it and they do it so successfully? Because they can stop the run without having to insert other guys into the run game.
Did you agree? Oh, sorry, Coach.
I had a question that kind of ties into what you're saying there. When you showed your slides earlier, I think it was your money guy. On one of the slides, you had said that he, because your safety didn't come down and fill the alley, that you had him and the Mac playing that weak side run. Then in a later slide, you said that his eyes were out on the Y receiver and trips. Me being me, my question to you is going to be, how can I influence that guy? What's your money guy and your Mac looking at that I can get them to react to a pass and then run the ball where they leave is my question.
We teach them to watch the guards, right? Watch the guards first step, right?
So I teach headlight, dim light. So headlight, dim light means depending on that team and what they do, the line can be the headlights or the back can be the headlights. So all that means is that's where I'm looking at my key in front of me, but the dim light is on the back. All right, and most teams we do that with is the teams where you get the smoke and mirrors with like the bash concepts, and you're getting the misdirection stuff. Because we don't want to watch the back because it's a false key. But then also you get teams where the linemen are false keys.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to key the mesh point and the back with our eyes dimmed on the line. Because, you'll get, some plays where, a guy gets up and he pulls and then it's coming back to you. So if I was just looking at the lineman and I never got my eyes to the back, I'm stepping and following the puller up, and now I'm pinned from a down block that was a combo to it moved to me, and they changed my leverage just that much to keep me on that block. So it's a big thing of like figuring out, okay, what are they doing? Why are they doing it? And how can I stop it? So this is why I wanted to pull up my huddle.
Coach, before you play the next play with my unfortunate coach, you support that team down south that I will never say the name of. I teach my money and my Mike to read the guards. If one pulls, gotta follow the play. If they sit and they double team, you know what's coming. One goes away, someone's coming middle. I don't teach them to read the back, and should I probably start teaching them to read the back and cover 7, cover 6? Winners, the team is called the Big Ten. I love you, Coach. I love how much you bring to me every day. Thank you. But yeah, should I start teaching them to not key on the guards?
It depends on what the team's doing. Like I say, it all goes back to what is that team doing, and how can I stop it? Because I'll show you. Let me see here. Who was it? Chaparral. Those fucking bastards.
I only use an hour of my time, so I can give him another hour because we're learning a lot. Coach Maury, I would plead you to do that because I'm learning a lot from you guys as well. Also, I hate joining these conversations, and you all make fun of me for being a Michigan fan. I literally just, I'm sorry we're the smartest people on the planet. I'm sorry.
What did he just say?
And he's muted.
All right.
All right, here we go. This team, they were holy moly. Like I really want you to take a look at this freaking offensive line. So they ran a lot of. So you're getting inside zone action, right? Mesh across the face. Then you got these big 2 hog mollies pulling. So if you're teaching your guys read the back, and then you notice all of my backers, their right foot are up in the air because they knew we weren't keying the back, we were keying the line. And this motherfucker still blows this shit for a long run because look at the fucking line. And the quarterback is a freaking athlete.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Run that clip back again one more time. Oh, end zone shot, even better.
So again, if we're just watching the back, I mean, he would have got crushed. I mean, guys would get crushed if we were watching the back because we knew the line was taking us to the play. We're just there. We just missed some tackles.
But you're not in cover 7 right there, are you? Aren't they in a 2 tight end A set? Are you still in your?
So this asshole of a team. So you're counting, right? That's a fucking lineman. He can't go out for a pass. but they would just line up in it to run on us. So this week we were screwed. One, because the quarterback, unbeknownst to us, was ineligible the first 5 weeks of the season because he was a transfer. So all the film we had was like, we come for warm-ups and we're like, who the fuck is that kid? And we had no idea. Then so we were asking around pre-game, like, hey, who is the quarterback? And like one of the fans, we were walking up to the press box, was like, oh, that's the kid he came from San Diego. He actually won a state title, or no, CIF championship at the school he was at in San Diego, and he transferred up here to Chaparral. So we had never seen this kid before, and we had never seen these formations before, because that's not what they were doing the first 4 weeks. Wow. So a lot of this was like, we had talk about serious in-game adjustments. We had to make serious in-game adjustments because they normally came out in 10 personnel. And now you'll see it the whole game.
21.
You're getting linemen coming in as tight ends. And I mean, and they were huge. I mean, look at the asses.
Can you run through the play in slow motion? Because like I said, I teach my linebackers, Money and Mike, to watch that pulling guard. You said crushed right there. Look at that gap. Look at that hole. Crushed. And then your outside free safety, we call him Viper here at Michigan. I mean, what's his name? Jabril Peppers. Love him to death. He would have made the play here. But you got the play side guard kicking him out, and that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Who lost responsibility? Was it the DBs or the linemen on this play, or the linebackers? Who on this play lost responsibility?
This guy right here.
Yeah, I love how you single him out.
He was because if you look at the play develop, everyone did what they were supposed to do because we're a spill team. The backer, bloop, he spills that, bounces him outside. Is now just that he was a young kid that had to play because at this point we don't have two starting linebackers. One is still under concussion protocol. Because here in the state of California, our trainers are not licensed. Even though they have a national license, there's no state licensing for them. So they can't diagnose you with a concussion and they can't bring you back. So what has to happen with our kids here is the trainer's like, oh, I think you may have a concussion. They have to go home. They have to make an appointment with their care provider, get in, be diagnosed with a concussion. And then once they go through the concussion protocol with the trainer, they have to make another appointment so the doctor can clear them. So we get a kid get a concussion, he can be out 2 to 3 weeks. So we were missing 2 linebackers, and unfortunately we had to start a sophomore. And you can see he just physically, he's just not. And I mean, he's there. He could have still made the tackle. And, just that little bit, turned into a 37-yard gain. Let me see if I can find some other clips of it. And I just really, there's another one. Oh, here it is right here.
Every coach hates bringing this out. Thank you, Coach.
Oh, freaking, it just breaks my heart. Because there it is, the same play, and it's like missing. I mean, we're inches away because we just weren't ready for his speed. I mean, that's the freaking quarterback. That's a 90-yard touchdown.
I think 6 people of your 11 touched him on defense right there.
I mean, because you can see it develop. We're there. He's got to make a cut. He gets a block. Kid missed the tackle. Two other guys missed the tackle, and then it's off to the races.
Is everyone still freezing up?
Oh, is it freezing?
It's doing it's running, but it's like a skip.
I think that's Zoom. That happens a lot on Zoom video.
Okay.
But I don't have a lot of color 7 clips, but I do have one I found from my other school. That I had to go look at the kids' highlight to get it, because I was like, hey, can you guys send over some clips? We ain't sending you shit. Like, damn. Asshole.
Coach, that's why you do that before you leave. You
Yeah,
share the
so-
film before you leave where you're going.
Well, here was the thing was the head coach left me on the huddle account, and then when they got a new defensive coordinator, he got rid of me. He kicked me out.
Can I report Paul Ernest for hate speech with that goddamn awful background?
Let me see here.
What's my background?
True,
I'll
it's
change
true.
it for you.
Paul, I don't think it looks too bad, man.
What is this? Michigan State, Ohio State, or Michigan, Ohio?
Don't you dare state my little brother, man. I had to work to get into U of M, man. I had to study for hours.
Rudy.
Don't you dare bring that in. Don't you dare.
All right. So here we go. The 3x1, cover 7. So this is you're gonna watch the corner, and essentially what's gonna happen is you get 2 verticals, and then 3 is gonna wrap back behind and try to sneak up the sideline. But because, like I said, if you're watching the quarterback, you're screwed. You're gonna get screwed. But because he's not watching the quarterback, he's watching routes develop. I mean, this essentially sealed the game for us. So he's watching, he's squeezing up, sees the route develop behind him, and he goes and gets it. But if he's staring at the quarterback, he never sees that happen.
Can you play that back in slow motion for me so I can draw it up on my paper?
I don't think it, because it's a highlight, I don't think it goes in slow motion. But I mean, because he's watching routes develop and he sees that route, which really.
Do you like that over concept though? Right there, before the highlight happens, do you like him playing over or under? Because to me, that post is wide open. Just throw it to the left side of the post. There we go, touchdown.
So with this team, we knew this kid never got the ball. So as you can see, we inverted our safety.
Yep.
We knew, and then we just put this kid right here is going to Arizona Christian University. He just signed, but he's 6'4", and he can run. So we can leave him over there on him, and he's a non-factor. So we could, think about coverage to, over here where they threw to those guys all day.
So Coach G, who is responsible for number 3 on that wheel?
You can see this guy right here. He watches it, he takes it, but then he starts looking at the freaking quarterback.
Ah, gotcha. I can see that.
I mean, if I ever see that, I'm just going to invert the call, so not 959, but 595, and I'm going to make you read the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, go back 2 seconds. Like, look at the coverage. Like, if I ever see your Viper, your strong, your down safety reading it like that, I'm just gonna throw the inverse at you, and I'll dink and dunk it all night. But that's a beautiful read by the safety. But then again, look at the post.
Yeah, but watch this kid down here on the bottom.
Okay.
We didn't care about him. Watch. Nobody even looks at him. Nobody would look at him. He's got his hands up.
Throw me the ball.
I mean,
Who was that made the play?
that was the corner.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay, I just want to make sure.
So he's playing mod, but as you see, that route starts banking in. So now he's what we call squeezing back to the next zone. And
Yeah, but look at that safety right there.
Right here?
Look behind him. Look at the referee. Put the ball on the referee. It's a touchdown.
Yeah, but he thinks he sees this open because what? I gotta tell my kids all the time, you're staring at the quarterback, you're gonna watch the motherfucker throw a touchdown. And that's almost what happened, because look at it. He's staring at the quarterback, the guy runs behind him, and luckily the corner's paying attention, sees the route, gets back to his zone.
So you got bailed out. Okay. Would you have
Who
flipped the
was the
mod call?
intended target?
Yeah. Would you have flipped the mod call?
No.
Okay.
The intended target was number 3 running a wheel route.
Did you know that going in?
They ran a lot of wheels.
So that
Coach, are you
money
in?
Star should have gotten. He went to the flat, so that he should have ran with that initially, right?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Coach, are you in cover 7 here?
Yes.
Okay, can you talk us through, like I see your money guy opening to number 3 and number 3's out. So from your slides earlier with the rules they had, can you talk us through each guy here and what they
That'd be
do
awesome.
and what they should do?
Yeah. So the coaching on this should have been, so 3 is out. So that's a fast 3. All right. So he should have gave a push. So now the money here should be working to this guy running up the hash. All right. Because he's the new 3. All right. He gave the push call. Now he's got to find a new 3. So he's going to climb to the hash to get up under the 3 to help the safety. Now, his rule, first to the flats. He does it, right? He takes him, but the issue where he messed up was, instead of staying with the man, he took his eyes off the man and started watching the quarterback. And that's how that kid became open. The corner's got mod on number 1, but number 1 turns into the new number 2. So he's squeezing back because there's no one in his deep zone, no one for him to mod anymore. Right?
And I don't think your safety moved at least a yard in the past 3 seconds.
Yeah, it hasn't moved yet. I still got it on pause. So the safety should be helping with the new 3 with the money. All right. So now as it develops, he's related to the new 3. You've got the safety over the top. He's still got him, but now you can see at this point he starts watching the quarterback. And this is where he loses.
All right, so can I just trying to make sure I understand here. So you had a new fast number 3, so that money player should have, or no, the star should have went to the flat and then carried that wheel through anything that happened.
Exactly.
Then you said that you have a new number 1. So even with 3 to the flat, you locking your star on, you will still call him the new number 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Even if he's that kid that you were like, oh, he's a stud, we're gonna line our star up on him. You gonna stay true to that all night?
Well, then I'll change the call. Then I'll just go. I will meg him. We won't run box. If I want my star to lock a dude down, I'm gonna play bracket, or I'm gonna play. I'm gonna give him a meg tag.
Say he's that freak tight end basketball player, 6'4", wide receiver, looks gangly, he's not a football player. He's 180 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still gonna put your corner on him?
If he's lined up at number 1, yeah.
Okay, let's flip the narrative. Can you bring it back 2 seconds? Because Coach Ernest, I actually want to ask you this as well, and Coach, you as well, presenting this. What happens if they put that star guy? I mean, quite frankly, this play was designed to go to the wheel, 100%, hands down, going to the wheel all night. What happens if they take that star kid and put him backside towards that little white kid who didn't catch a ball all season? How are you going to play? Are you going to shift your out of box? Are you going to go back to cone? Are you going to?
Yeah, we're just.
Well, what I'm going to tell you before Coach Gant goes is when I move that kid, I've got to make adjustments. Even though it seems like it's one kid, I've got to make adjustments for everybody that's now on the back end. I deal with that with my DC, and I'm not a big fan of that. I would rather make you identify the mismatch that you can take advantage of and me coach my kid and be able to coach the mistakes than I would move a kid around just to, create something I think is going to be better on this one thing. Because then what if they motion? What if the kid you got him away from motions over to where he is? Now, to me, 7 guys have to have an answer for that, not just the one. but that's just my opinion since you asked. But Coach Gant, sorry.
For me, that's where film study comes into play. For me, because here's the thing: is like for an offense to move guys around, that's stressful for them too. I mean, it's not like, oh, you know what? This week we're going to take the running back and we're going to move him to X on the backside of trips so he can be locked up on this corner because he sucks. Yeah, but that motherfucking running back don't know the fucking route tree. He don't know all the tags for the wide receivers. He doesn't know the routes. I mean, that's you just handicapped. You just did me a favor. You handicapped yourself because now you're doing something that you don't normally do. Go ahead and do it. I mean, I'll take my chances with that because you're coming out of you're doing exactly what I want you to do. Because on my end, like I was saying about my breakdown stuff, and I'll go to that stuff.
Yeah, go back to it.
I'm not going to chase ghosts. I'm not, and this is why my breakdown is so extensive, is because a lot of defensive coordinators chase ghosts. They play the what if game. Well, what if they do this? Well, what if ifs and buts were candies and nuts every day be a Merry Christmas?
I love that.
I mean, I'm not going to do it. I mean, we're not going to chase ghosts. And I, and sometimes, and it's not just young coaches, old coaches as well. They play that what if game. Well, what if they do? Well, motherfucker, did you see it in the fucking 3 game films we had? Well, if you didn't see it, then what makes you think they're going to do it? Like, guys aren't.
Stay base.
Yeah, guys aren't just sitting at home. This ain't backyard football. This is like motherfuckers get fired for doing stupid shit. But like my breakdown is like extensive. Like we've got the backfield formation. When it says GF is gun far, GP is pistol, and then GN is gun near. Like when they're in trips, trio, whatever you want to call it, I need to know, are they gun far? Are they gun near? Is the back to the trips or is he away from the trips? And if he is, why?
Coach Turso, Coach, can I interrupt you real quick? Because there's the comment section's going off right now. I got to play against Wright State, military base, Air Force, all of that. And they ran a 4-4 against that triple gun. That's why I asked you like 6 questions about it, just to see if I was doing the right thing. Coach Turso and Coach Mike, by the way, humbly, we would see like, okay, they're going to stack the box. They're going to bring it in. Let's put my big kid out there, wide receiver, and then just run option away. They're going to key in on that kid. Their star or their money is going to be on him, right? If we want a switch concept, a switch concept, or we want a bubble, we're going to key in on that and take their 2 best defenders away. Your star and your safety, right, are your 2 best defenses, right?
Sometimes.
Or how do you protect against that, either the tight end look or that 0-1 offense out of the trips? How do you defend against that in cover 7? Because like I want you to go to cover 6. I want you to go to cover 7. I want to bait it. Like I'll run screens, I'll run rubs, I'll run that 9-5-9 pick that the Atlanta Falcons.
If you're a defensive coordinator, I mean I can't speak for other defensive coordinators, but you're not going to force me to do shit that I don't want to do.
Amen.
Just not. I'm going to do what I do, and you know what? I'm going to make you adjust.
See, I love that when you don't want to do what I want you to do, because then it opens up everything else.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, I know what I want to do against you, and that's my game plan. And like I said, I'm going to tell that story, and that story that I'm going to tell you, that offensive coordinator, you're going to adjust to it, because you know what? Sometimes we'll go games where we're just too high, and then teams are like, oh, they're a fucking too high team, and then we'll go stretches where we'll play fucking middle of the field close for like 4 weeks straight.
Who do you shift into the box if they go 22 or 12 personnel?
We just bring the free safety or the strong safety now.
Yeah, so you just I think you said this before. He's not going to run cover 7 against some type of 21, 22.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we can agree on that.
yeah, 3-man.
Yeah, we can agree on it, but if I'm looking at being a quarterback, I'm saying, all right, hey, coach, they've been cover 3, cover 2, cover 4 all night area. Coach, you got to let me hit the flats. You got to let me hit an RPO. You got to let me hit something, a zone read or whatever. And then, it comes down to the game, 12-13. None of us have been doing shit. Sorry, coach, for swearing. My apologies. And then it just says, hey, bring the big boys in. Let's make it a man's game, all night, dinking and dunking. Your quarterback's 14 for 20. My quarterback's 12 for 22. And, when that shift happens, which is inevitable. I mean, Alabama does it. They're great at it. Georgia did it the past 3 seasons. LSU did it perfect last season. When they bring that extra man in the box, you said you rotate your free safety or strong safety. You don't have a key guy like, hey, I want you in the box, or I don't want you in the box. I want him in the box. You don't key in on that?
No, because if you can't tackle or you're scared to tackle, you're not going to play defense for me.
Amen.
Well, I'll tell you, Coach G, that that last video that you showed with that 3x1 with that wheel, I think as an offensive guy, I think that was a great call. I mean, honestly, if that quarterback would have been on time, I think he'd have been in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just giving you my look, because when your safety turned his hips, and I know I got a guy coming behind, that quarterback just made a bad decision, wasn't on time. But
we totally got the corner totally bailed us out, because I mean my star was and here's the funny thing is that the fucker's going to Idaho State to be a running back.
Nice.
So it tells you. I mean, he was a great athlete. So on defense, I tried to give him a position that he didn't have to think. He's about as smart as a box of rocks.
That makes sense that he's a running back.
there it is. There it is, coaches.
Yeah. Well, he was smart as a box of rocks, and his dad wasn't a helicopter dad. His dad was a motherfucking Apache dad. Mustang.
So let me ask you this, Coach G. If you, like, day one at spring camp, kids showing up, is this something that is day one install? Like we are a 2-high cover 7 team, or do you like teach like cover 2 and then start?
Do you build to it?
So we are out of a base. We are a middle of the field, open shell team as a base. We don't tag a coverage to it, because we build off of quarters, and then we go from there. So the first thing we ever teach is quarters, which we call cover 8. All right. And we split the field, and that's our start. That's day one. Now the next portion of it is we'll teach the middle of the field closed shell, because then it ties in all of our zone blitzes, our simulated pressures, and things like that. And then depending on the football IQ of the defense, we'll move to cover 7. And sometimes, like last year, all we got in was box and stubby, because we just didn't have – we had a ton of injuries, and we had a bunch of kids that were coming up from JV and having to play. So we couldn't run a lot of stuff that we would normally run, because on the JV levels, we just don't do it. But when we talk about base, we are a middle of the field, open shell team. And the reason we teach it that way, because if you say, there's teams, we're a quarters team. Okay, well, anytime I ever see you go single high, either your ass is blitzing or something funky. You're running man coverage. You just tipped your hat. So we teach shells, because we don't give away the coverage, and we teach the middle of the field closed shell. We'll teach man match cover, zone match cover 3, and we teach cover 1, and we do that because now teams see us rotate, and they're like, they're in their cover 3 shell, blah blah blah. But now we're bringing pressure. We're bringing heat.
How do you avoid that with the screen option, either out of the wing backs, the slot receivers, or the running back? Who do you teach to read that?
Teach to read in what coverage, what shell, middle of the
So
field.
if you're cover 7, cover 6, and I see you're sending pressure off the edge, I'm going to be like, all right, we're going to go outside zone, Michigan left. They won it against Notre Dame. If not, I'm going to go the LSU touchdown pass for 1984. We're going to go an outside screen, just the tackle and just the guard. If not, I'm going to do what Oklahoma or Nebraska did, where they just pulled the tackle, and the tackle takes the backside corner, and you just run a swing pass. So stump versus straight. This is perfect. That's perfect. That was perfect. Backside tackle takes out the cornerback, and you just run a swing pass, and you get on your horse. If you want to talk pressure and talk fakes, I mean, in sitting in true cover 7, you want to give the idea of a fake, right? Like bringing pressure. You want to fake the idea of bringing pressure. Sorry, coaches.
We don't. We do.
Is it necessary or no?
No, you don't have to. I mean, and here's the thing is like, and I know you say you're like a young coach, but like,
yes, sir. I'm also very stupid.
No, I do what I do, and are there some ideas that I take from colleges? Yeah, but there's a lot of that stuff we can't do because one, I don't have a fucking dominant 3 and a nose tackle that are going to dominate the line of scrimmage. So we've got to do what we've got to do. And I'm trying to pull it up. So here is, let me see if I get them all together. So this is what we carry coverage-wise. We have our, these, let me highlight them real quick. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. So that's middle of the field closed. Coverages. So our middle of the field shell, 5 and 55 and 5 Cougar, or middle of the field open shell. Then you see our, the cover 7 stuff, middle of the field, open. I mean, and that's what we do. And then, that's our teaching progression. And we do that because, you know what, if you're always too high, like I was saying, and then now all of a sudden you're not too high, you just tipped your hat that you're doing something. And our DC at one point was like, we were always too high. And then he was like, oh, well, we want to put in these zone pressures. I was like, well, we're tipping our hat because we don't run anything. We don't have any 1 high coverages. And he was like, well, what ideas do you have? I was like, we can play, 3-6 and play some cover 1. And now we can play those coverages and not tip our hat if we want to blitz out of them. Because if you want to zone blitz, you're always going to have to rotate, and we're not a rotation team. So we had to change that.
What is the advantage of the 3-6 over the 3-5? Because I've had to face it twice in my career. Playing out of conference, private high schools, private Catholic high schools.
What was the question again?
What is the advantage of playing that 3-6, cover 6, cover 7 over playing against a base 35 defense? I've only faced it twice now against private Catholic high schools.
Stop. So first, 1, 3 and 6 is a coverage.
Yep.
The 3-3-5 is a defense.
Yep.
So it's totally 2 different things.
They played the 30 stack, but they brought their safeties in the box. That's why I asked earlier of, hey, do you flip roles? Do you flip responsibilities with that corner or that down safety or the money?
Me personally, I'm not a fan of the 3-3-5 defense. Because
Me either.
Here's the thing. A lot of guys say they run it, but unless you have, so we're going to talk about coaches. So you need D-line coach, right? You need inside backer coach. Those 2 hybrids that that are walk down, those guys need a coach. And the free safety needs a coach, and the corners need a coach, because those dudes aren't interchangeable. They're not. I mean, if we want to be serious about, and like this is my big thing with coaching, is like, if you want to be serious about coaching and you really want to understand things, like you can't shortchange the kid and then be like, it's their fault. No, it's your fault. Because if you don't have guys to coach those dudes, like I said, you need like 6 coaches to coach the 3-3-5. You just
That's right, coach. Because that's the offense that we run. That 3-3-5, and everything you said is absolutely correct. Because I coach the defensive line, the linebackers, the DC coaches, the ponies has their coach, and the DBs have their coach. So if somebody's missing that day, then you got issues, you got problems.
So when guys say, yo, yeah, we run 3-3-5, and I'm like, well, how many defensive coaches you got? 3. No, you ain't fucking. You're not running it to its full potential. I mean, just like air raid, the air raid offense. You got an inside receiver coach, you got an outside receiver coach, you got a running back coach, you got a line coach, you got a quarterback coach. If your inside and outside guys are practicing together and they're doing the same drills, you're doing them a disservice because their routes are different.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you, Coach.
Coach, your cover 3 and 6 is just rip Liz, right? And that's telling who's coming down with the rotation.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Correct.